Welcome to today's episode of TalkingTons CD podcast. I'm your host, Lauren McMaster, and I'm joined today by some of the members of our CustomCare team. First up, we have Daniel McAleer. He began his CDE career in 2018 and has worked in management roles across stockholding, assembly, and production, and is currently customer relationship executive for the South of England. Next up, we have Sean McElhatton, regional CustomCare manager for Europe. Sean's based out of Poland and uses his 17 years experience in CDE support customers with their plant maintenance. And finally, we have Andrew Bunting, regional CustomCare manager for the Americas. He joined our after sales division after 5 years as a technical engineer and gives him great expert knowledge that's needed to support our customers from our Texas headquarters. So at CDE, we have a customer for life approach where we stay close to our customers across the life of the plant. We have a large team of people who are dedicated to supporting customers to get the most out of their operations after commissioning is complete. So to kick things off, we're going to have a look at what type of support a customer can get from CDE CustomCare. But we want to maybe give us a wee overview of what the type of support CustomCare provides to customers.
There's several different types. There's obviously the on-site type of support. We can give them service, so that can be preventative maintenance inspections. We can go in for optimization visits. We can go in for there was another type, Sean,
like winter plant shutdown, and post-winter startup.
Yeah, startup again.
Yeah.
And then from all of our regional offices, really, we'll have regional experts in there, be them from various engineering disciplines. You know, there might be process engineers, there might be electrical engineers that are on hand to answer the phone and give any sort of advice need to customers in the same time zone in the region. On top of that, we have our part teams in each region. So we have our parts coordinators and our warehouse staff that work every day to make sure the orders go out to the customers and they get the parts they need as quickly as possible.
Yeah. There's also the online function, isn't there, as well, where customers can go on and actually choose their own plant and sweep through and pick the parts that they need.
Yep, so the parts desk, parts of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good.
Lots of ways.
Lots of ways. That's actually really helpful as well, I've found, not just for ordering parts online, but using it as a sort of maintenance tool as well. So it's interactive, so you can break down the models in there. So before you go in and do a bit of invasive maintenance, you can go in, have a look around, see what you're actually getting yourself into.
Yeah, sorry. It's also good for part identification.
Yep.
And sometimes we have trouble maybe just identifying what part is needed, and it gives the customer a bit more.
You find when you're in different parts of the world as well, what we call a spanner, an American call a wrench. So there's different names for different things in different parts of the world. So if the customer is able to look at the model, see what the part description is there, it saves any confusion down the front. Everybody's saying
lots of speedier process as well. I suppose if we're talking about downtime here, this is how we decrease that overall. It's just another tool we have, or another quiver in the boat.
Increases efficiency.
There we go.
Sick.
And how can we support customers to maximize uptime? What sort of resources can we support them with?
We have dedicated teams of service engineers in region. So for Europe, we have guys in France. In France, we have a team in the German-speaking region as well, based out of Austria. So that's anything from backroom staff, support staff, to CRM, which is Customer Relationship Manager, and to the RSE, who are the guys on the ground actually doing the work.
I have in the office do that work.
So we try, but that's if we're actually in the office.
Yeah. Yes.
What does that, I think I mentioned it in the reduction there about our customer for life approach. What does that mean from your perspective in the CustomCare department? So we've had the other parts that, people come on board, they get the plant's commissioned. The next stage is that we'll pass on CustomCare. What's that experience with customers at that stage?
I would say that's not the first time we see, or the customer would see people from CustomCare. We try to be involved throughout the project so that crossover, if you say, is a lot more seamless. So whenever the handover needs to be done from the commissioning or the project phase into CustomCare, they already know us.
And you already know the project. And we're already not starting from it's hot handover from Sunday experience to Sunday in experience. You've been involved with the project always, right?
Generally involved straight from the kick-off meeting with the customer.
Yeah. Not meeting with regular visits throughout the installation phase and commissioning phase to see, we want to see what is happening on the site and get you in front of the customer and comfortable with the customer then too.
And that covers obviously not just the sort of family operations as well. You're right up into the PLCs there too. They're going to need support as much as they will. It doesn't really, it's not variable. It's the same person, the same point of contact for either of the sites.
Doesn't really matter who the company is, we've got a plant operator, and the operator needs support. But for the customer for life model, like you touched on it there, but I think the big part for me is communication, and always just keeping that communication line open with the customer. Different customers prefer different methods, so you have to be adaptable. Some people only want to talk on the phone, some people only want to talk on email, some people only want to talk on text. So it's making sure you keep in contact and keep up to date with what's happening with the customer, and that's the only way you're going to know what support they need.
Yeah, communication is key, as you say.
And what's that experience? I know we're talking today from CD headquarters. What's that experience like for people in regions, so in the Americas or in Australia? Is it pretty much the same experience globally?
Yeah, same experience. It's
I think different custom care, it's the same sort of model wherever we go. Yes, there may be different.
there might be small cultural differences, but it's
When we speak of Androids here in the UK, it's you wouldn't have the likes of a winter shutdown. But in Europe and then obviously in parts of
probably the fun thing for us as well. We get different, the likes of Europe or America, such a big region where we have different climates sort of without it. So Northern Europe's going to get the winter shutdowns, the same in the likes of Canada or the northeast of the United States, whereas you'll also be working in the likes of Texas there, where in the summer you're hitting 40, 44, 45 degrees Celsius at some stages. So it's just it's the range of different environments you're getting there as well. Yeah. But a lot of it does overlap. Like, I know the likes of us would talk, there's a big enough customer support team around the world that, if support issues come up and it's not happened in that region before, you'd be pretty sure it's happened in some regions. So
we talk the learnings from each other.
yeah, so all us guys would talk pretty regularly.
And when we think about plant optimization, what would be those practical things that we'd be recommending for a customer to do, or any examples that we could maybe run through?
The PMI visits, I suppose, is one of the massive things for me. I've only been working in this region for a short time, and if I look at it in terms of a single word, it would be a lot of days it can be reactive. And that tells me that these PMIs are not happening. There might be an experience, an operative or something there. But it's just trying to let that customer understand that preventive maintenance is key here. Bring the reactive time, put the reactiveness out of it, and have your downtime as short as possible.
Be proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly, and I think we support that function very well in all regions. And if you even look at the south of England in terms of the number of plants that are there, and the customers are actually waking it up to certain aspects of this and realizing we do need to keep these parts, we do need to be keeping up with the maintenance, or we're going to fall behind, and you can just see the tons off the belt slipping away. I suppose leading into the SmartTech function then as well, which is obviously very important for monitoring the plant, as well as those PMI checks and plant optimization visits are a very good thing as well.
And what would a PMI look like? What sort of things would you be checking, identifying as you would go around the plant?
There's so many things that are checked on the plant. Ultimately, it depends on what kind of plant you have. But if you're looking in terms of the key moving parts, it's burn temperatures and checking out your pump wear and pipe work and things like that. Obviously have a lot of scrubbing applications as well that'll require those wearable parts to be up to high standard, or you put pressure in other parts of the plant. So there's lots of things that are checked, and we have check proof functions as well, which we give to these operators to help them along that journey. And as time goes on, you see them picking up these things and learning from CDE, and they'll have their own ideas as well as to how to run the plant. We're no strangers to the plant, but they're the ones running it day in, day out. So they're going to know ultimately a lot more than we will in the day-to-day.
In terms of the PMI, so PMI is pre-maintenance inspection. So you want to catch things that have the potential to put you down. So if you get it ahead, be proactive about it, then obviously you won't have any downtime. So like in terms of what a PMI is, it's basically checking everything in the plant. Movable parts as Dan says here, and wearable parts, all big areas, but you also want to see into the future that has the potential to go, that's good for another 3 months. You can tell all that, and then the customer is able to plan, scheduled maintenance off the back of that.
Get darts there on the island.
Parts there on
in
the
a
day.
round way.
Yeah, I think the big part as well, like the entire idea of running PMI checks is to reduce downtime. So
Yeah.
you don't have to have the idea, whereas I've got a 250 ton per hour pump and I want to inspect every single thing during every PMI, and you'll be shut down for 2 weeks, breaking every pump and every bit of pipe work and everything there. So
Yeah.
the team can help schedule around the plant. So they come in for one day once a month, and this day we're going to look at the filter press feed pump. When we come in next month, we're going to break a couple of the 90s and the pipe work, and we're going to inspect in there. So we can sort of look at that schedule, bring it in there, and it reduces the downtime as well. You don't have to go full hog.
There's different models of a PMI, and so as Andrew says, it'll be the 1 day, 1 mile on site, seeing, and that's more of like a optimization type visit to make sure that you're getting the best out of the plant. And there's the 1 week maybe shutting down if they have that capacity to do that you can get a better look at everything. It all depends, again, what Brian says, how big the plant is, what they're running. There's a lot of different moving parts if you want. But
it need to be something like coming in at the weekend. Some customers will only run Monday to Friday, so we can schedule to come in on a Saturday and do it. I know in the States we have worked around just the working hours and the shift patterns as well. So there might be like a day shift and a night shift, and there's maybe a 3 or 4 hour maintenance window in between there. And we can get in there and do a bit of the maintenance inspection and work with the site team as well, and show them what we're looking at and teach them, and sort of transfer that knowledge as well.
I had similar customer in the Northern France who doesn't like to be down, but wants his PMI inspection. So what we do there is this is what you do is, he would work his plant up till 2 p.m. day, and then we come in, work the evening night shift, and then do what we can and do that over a week so that he's still able to run for most of the day and get his production.
I have a similar sort of customer as well in the London area. Well, bigger company, I'm not just mentioning their name, but the way it's scheduled in as part of their asset care agreement. So as you said, this month we're going to do the filter press pump. Next month we're going to do the cloth wash pump. Third month we're going to check all the sand pumps, whatever it is. But just having that control of it all and having this nice sort of view of everything, then you can actually see through whatever's been ordered, what's needed, what's not needed. And it comes back to the new side of things, which is all data and AI of understanding that. And then again back into SmartTech, where we can view all this. So many things, I suppose, if you talk all day really about this.
You can talk all day about it, but I think the crux of everything we're talking about there, be it PMI visits or optimization visits or the SmartTech, it's all down to maximizing throughput for the customer, getting the most material off those product belts within any given time frame there. So that's probably the crux of it.
You were talking about being, what degrees was it in Texas?
-12 Celsius.
No, you said something about the sun, 45 degrees.
Oh, I had 45.
Where are you at on that goes?
Well, I'm just very honest. You don't think I've got it, come?
It's an Irish pass.
You just wear the white shirts with and increase your tan a bit, or?
Yes.
Didn't get the memo.
You're not allowed one.
No.
What's the best thing you've found what's the best example of a PMI saving downtime that you've found in your experience over the years?
I would say more the pre-winter shutdown PMI and getting the plant pre and down for winter, and you're going to get good time. Usually a customer in Europe, whether it be in Sweden or Norway or Austria, Switzerland, they usually have a period of 3 months. So I know everybody can't do that. Not everybody has that luxury. I'm sure these customers would want to be running 12 months of the year if they could, but just weather doesn't permit. But doing that PMI good and early so that you can see what's wrong, or what you need to get the plant running for the 9 months that it does run a year.
There's nearly two aspects of that. So There's the winterization of the shutdown procedure, which we'll go and help with, and that's making sure everything's drained down. We're not going to crack anything during the freeze over the winter.
Yeah.
But also getting a good, thorough PMI inspection before then. So, as you touched on before, getting all the parts ordered in good time, making sure we've got everything on site during that shutdown so the guys can do whatever maintenance is required so they can hit the ground running in the new season and make the most out of the shorter wash season, be it 9 months or 6 months or whatever it is.
It just gives, you see the benefit of it whenever they do it. Like, and I would say it's a relatively new thing that we sort of, a new function that we provide basically for the winter shutdown. Customers may have been doing it before, but I think it's more detailed now that what we actually go in
More to procedure kit.
I think just the knowledge that we have over the years, in terms of maybe a Pimo pump cracking during winter because it wasn't drained down properly, or valves cracking and having all be replaced. That's all things that we look after when we do that shutdown. But then back to the PMI, doing that PMI just before that, as you say, it allows you to get the parts on site quicker, so that once they're ready to go again in March or April, whatever it be, they have the confidence that that plant is going to run at, the best it can for their whole good, and then doing that again. And like that's the winter shutdown, but there's also, throughout that running period, you can go in and do the visits. We're on site every few months anyway, and you're going on to see how the plant's running, and you may pick up something else. So it's the visits in the back of that too, just a 1 day visit, or a CRM coming in, or just even the RSE, just to see anything that's wrong or anything they can help with. So that's also supporting right as well.
It could be anything. They could be looking at the customer's stock of spare parts on site and helping them make the judgment call of if they have everything they need to make sure they're going to get through the season. Do they need to get anything else on site?
Yeah.
That's a fair point you made, actually. There are probably customers that have so many parts in their store they actually can't see the wood for the tree sometimes. We've actually offered that service as well. We go in and we do a stock analysis of what they have, and then look at what are the parts you're actually going to need and utilize, as opposed to having all these parts that are worth money sitting there. Shelf life is only so long, costs money. Suppose it goes back to uptime in the plant and having exactly what you need there when you need it, and not having this ludicrous spend on things that you're never going to use. Really.
Yeah, and we have all of that information. We know what customers buy, we know what customers need. CDE have been doing this for 32 years now. So we have all that information, all those learned experiences. So when you look at the likes of the RPLs that we provide, we can give you the information there of how long these wear parts are going to last. And then you can make the educated decision there of, right, we've got 2,000 hours left on this liner, most likely. Let's get that ordered now and get it on the site. So with over 2,000 projects around the world, we've learned a lot from each of them. And it's just making sure we transfer all of those learnings and the knowledge there to our new customers and even our existing customers, and just supporting them that way.
There's been things changed on plants over the years. Some of those older plants that are still running, which is a credit, I suppose, to us in a way, that we're still able to support those plants and have the parts that they need. But it's also sharing the new technologies, the new learnings, and being able to adapt that into those plants. And you can see that already with people are very happy that their tonnage is sort of going down the way, and then you bring a change. And it's again back to the knowledge that we have, not within HQ, all over the world, where we know we can make this work for you and make this happen. And back to the old communication thing as well. I've certainly noticed being in the job only 6 months. You said the CRM will call in, CRE, project manager could be around the area, sales guys, whatever. The communication that I've seen is fantastic. Everyone lets everyone know what's going on, and we know if there's any grumblings from a customer, which is unfortunate, but at least we can react to that then.
Yeah, well, that's probably the thing you'll find in your job, Dan, that you're not the single point of contact. You're the main point of contact, and there's several touch points throughout different areas and departments within CDE throughout the life cycle of the customer there. So be it with the commissioning engineers when they're on site, when we're ready for the plant handover there, to people from the engineering department helping out with the custom care department, be it with optimization or potential upgrades or anything like that. So, there's definitely a lot of different touchpoints. Yeah, so one thing we've been doing in the States recently is, in order to maximize uptime, maximize throughput, all of those good things, is we've been providing a CDE supplied operator with the plant. So for the first, be it 3 months or 6 months of the plant operating, we'll have a CDE man there on site running the plant and working with the site team. So they'll be helping to run the plant, they'll be helping to maintain the plant, but most importantly, they'll be helping to train the customer's operations team on site. So I think I said a couple of times there, but that sort of knowledge transfer and getting those good practices into the teams running the plants as early as possible. That's hugely beneficial to making sure the right processes are followed, but ultimately maximizing the amount of product off the belt and reducing the amount of downtime.
What's been the impact of that then with the operator? Like, do you get better buy-in from the operator whenever that?
Better buy-in, it increases, I would say it increases communication, because those communication lines there's so many more of them when you've got a CDE guy on site. So I never expect one of the operators to know everything about that plant. But the thing is, when they're there, they've got the CDE phone there, they've got the CDE phone book. They won't have all the answers themselves, but they know who to phone if they don't have the answer. And all of us, it's a phone call, it's immediate. We're getting that information on the site to the customer, and the customer sees the benefit of it. And for a plant up in Long Island in New York, we use SmartTech at the same time, sort of track that with the operator, the CDE supplied operator stint on site, and you're able to see the benefit of having him there. There was far less downtime than usual. The efficiency rates were up there, the production was up there, and it was evident really. We have that sort of empirical data proof to show it.
I've actually done that for one of my own customers in South England who had an operator who was there for a long time, left the business, and then we had a new person who came in, and just having that, I think it was about 2.5, 3 weeks or something, we had one of our guys there to show them how to run the plant. You could just see their whole world changed. Anytime we arrived, they just lit up to see us. They were so happy that had the support there more of anything. If you think about it, if you were going into a new job, or if you were given a piece of kit that you'd never used before, how good would it have just that, like a guru there helping you out to run it? It's just give me a pointer, let me ask questions, and don't just shoot me down and say you're doing something wrong. That's how you learn.
And there are other case studies we've done there where we went in with an optimization visit, but with a little bit of training as well for the customer operator, be it with there's been a bit of staff turnover or something, or there's a new guy there, he just needs a bit of help getting to grips with the plant. And as you've said before, the SmartTech and the data we're pulling from the plants, it's so easy to see the benefit of that there, the before and after. And then it's something the plant managers or the owners of the site can look at as well, where if those tonnages are starting to drop down, maybe we'll get the CDE guy in, we'll get a little bit of optimization, get a little bit of additional training in there, try and bring those numbers back up.
It's good that, I suppose, SmartTech doesn't have to be just for the new plants as well. Even for any plant, we can add this technology in. Like it's changing the game. And I suppose for me, will it ever get to the point where, how many have we got now? Over 100 plants? Over 100 plants using this technology, which is great. But the more we get onto the system, the better it is overall for everyone. Maybe down the line, predictive failures, like that, really accurate, which would be amazing. I'd be out of a job, but it would be great.
But it's something that's not overly complicated to do. So if you think of the bearing temperature sensors we'll have on a log washer or something like that, we can sort of predict once it gets to a certain temperature, maybe the difference from ambient temperature, that it is going into failure mode and it will inevitably fail. We can set up alerts there. We can program that in, that when it hits a certain temperature and maybe maintains that for a certain amount of time, it'll send that email alert out to the operator or to anyone in the customer's team that should go to go and inspect that, listen to it. Does it need to get changed? Get the parts on site before it fails.
It is unfortunate that things fail, but you're all up in the driving seat. It
might be interesting as well, just to highlight to people the level of stock that we hold globally. So we have stock holdings here in Northern Ireland, but we also have that regionally. I'm not sure what that level is like over in Texas and maybe the range of products that we can supply at a short lead time.
How do you utilize the stock from your stock holding? And
As we utilize stock. So we would have about $4.5 million worth of stock sitting on the shelf in Texas, and that ranges from conveyor bearings, conveyor rollers, to spare pumps, full spare bear shaft pumps, as I can say. Replacement screens for upgrades and stuff like that. Any sort of wear plant or wear item you can think of on the plant, we've got it sitting there. And that really helps us to better service the customers there. One, we're in the same country. I know there's a couple of different time zones in the States, but it's a whole lot closer than something coming from Ireland. Most things can be overnighted. They can be hot shot. We can get someone there. If the service engineer has to drive the site with it in the back of a pickup truck, we can do that to get the customer up and running again. And then the other thing we're working with in the States is working with our preferred partners. So with several different regions within the Americas there, we'll have a preferred partner. One of the things the preferred partners do for us is hold stock of spare parts for us in that region or territory there. So we're starting to get little pockets of spare parts around the country as well. So we're even closer.
Like couples out those times, it's manageable.
Yeah. These are the benefit of that too. We have in Europe, we have a stock holding in Austria that can service on mainland Europe. We also have the service partners or the guys in other regions within. So we have Nordic folk in Norway. He's able to support our customers with the stock holding there too, and service in Blanchard also.
So that's not just parts, but also service. So they'd be comfortable and confident and competent enough with the CDE machinery that they can go in and so inform maybe some of those inspections for us.
We work closely with them to build their knowledge, and we're always there. It's not just they're a partner of ours and we just let them go. It's a close partnership we have with them. And it comes all the way from sales down into CustomCare.
Yeah.
So we have that, just a pure partnership with them. And it's an ongoing, it's not just we spend some time with them and that's them, we let them go. It's, if there's anything new coming up in here in CDE, then we share that with them as well.
Yeah. And what methods have you used to try and teach the likes of the partners in Europe there about the CDE processes and parts and service and procedures and stuff like that?
Well, they would have access to our platforms as well for the plants that they would look after in their region, in their sub-region. So they would have access for the SmartTech, we're able to see it. They would have the parts assist, they would have the check proof. They're involved in the handover of them projects as well within their region. And so they've been exposed to the likes of the RPLs. They know now, sitting with customers in that handover process, how you would present the RPL, what parts we would be recommending to keep, and then what they would keep. So it's pretty good.
Actually, you've touched on something there we haven't talked about is RPLs, or recommended parts lists.
Yeah.
Sometimes called RSLs, or recommended spares lists. Have you any examples, Dan, of when a customer has used that to their advantage, or the benefits you've seen from providing those to the customers at the outset of a project?
Well, I would say it, yeah, absolutely. So one of our bigger customers was SRC, right to say them. One of our bigger customers, SRC, they would keep a lot of spares on site, readily available. They also have their own maintenance team. They're familiar with our plants. We don't get that reactiveness out of them as much as we used to. They're not as proactive again. And their downtimes are minimal. When they have in every office, they have their TV screens up, looking at tonnages all the time. They can see when things are changing, and just having sort of the confidence that we've given them the recommended parts that they actually need, and it proves it because their tonnages are always up where they need to be. Plants are doing really big tonnages and very little downtime.
You'd mentioned shelf life earlier on. The parts that SRC are going through and using, is it reasonably repetitive there? Are they using the same parts and then replenishing their own stock? Is there anything they've had that sits there for a while, but it's maybe got them out of a bind once in a blue moon? What way do you see it?
Oh no, that's fact. To be honest with you, there could be something like a conveyor drum. Now, might never happen, but if it does happen, our product, because if we use the same parts, a lot of those conveyors, they're not searching for something. We're not having to go through reams of projects or reams of part numbers to try to find what that part is.
You've got the
We have it there already, and it's a common part. We have it on the shelf for them. So if there ever is that unfortunate failure, then it's not going to be for too long.
that's actually something the engineering team try to do when we're putting the plans together. There is the continuity of spares. So you touched on a conveyor drum there, the likes of a motorized drum that we'd see in a lot of our stockpilers. You know, it's intentional that all four of them on a plant have the same motorized drum, because when you then have the continuity of spares, you may have to have one drum sitting on the shelf there rather than four different ones, and you're covering yourself for four different things there. Then the other thing we sort of touched on there was the difference between wear parts of the spare and critical parts of the spare. So there, I feel anyway, money needs to be invested in critical spares. Now, these are something we can be cute and clever with. So the likes of the motorized drum there, that would be a critical spare. But if we can have one that's covering every stockpiler on the plant, we're reducing the net spend we have to put in there. So you'll find the same with the bear chassis or LMDs, radiation motors. Yeah, and having one on the shelf there will cover you for a lot. But it's maybe just trying to find that ratio of wear consumable parts to critical parts that you want to hold yourself on site. The good thing about CDE is we're holding those critical spares as well. If you can afford to wait I don't know what the turnaround time would be in the UK. It's probably a day.
I'm
Worst case.
buoyed, to be honest. Even working in the UK and having the main hub just up the road. But it's interesting hearing how you guys get it. You know, we don't get together too often because we're all busy working in our regions. So it's good to hear how it affects you get.
Yeah, so like, that's the benefit of having them critical big ticket maybe on site. So like I get what you say, the customer may be looking at it for 2-3 years and thinking, why did I spend that? But the day that goes down, that's the paybacks.
It's the type of customer as well. So some types of operation might be, they might have enough stockpile that if a critical item were to fail, that they can wait the day for it on the Cookstown to somewhere in England. There's some other customers the demand is that high, they simply cannot wait there even the 1 day or the 12 hours or whatever it is to get that to us to get it changed. There's
Somebody asked you, I wanted it yesterday.
okay. Yeah. So is there anything like that you have found? I'll give you an example that I've found, that customers actually holding a full bear shop pump assembly on site to reduce the downtime to refurbish the pump on site in situ, so they can just pull that full bear shop pump out, drop a new one in. It reduces that downtime. But what they actually get then is they have that second pump that they pulled out, the original. They can have that refurbished in the background and just sort of continue that cycle once that pump wears and over. It's a duty stand binary kind of setup.
I think we've seen an increase in that.
Yeah,
in customers, definitely.
I have a few examples there of especially the PMO pump. Yes, the filter press. That's a big one. Like filter press is integral part to the running of the plant. So if that pump goes down, you're down.
Yeah.
The plant's not running. So like a few customers have put the expense in there of a bare shop pump. And like the downtime on that is 2 hours, 3 hours most, compared to in Europe, and we have it lucky.
But still,
Still 1 day transport time. We're looking in Europe, anything from, and then transport costs on top of that.
And that's even talking about replacing the pump. Now, we're just got 3 days.
Yeah. And then if you get in the parts, it's, again, transport time's the same. But, there's obviously dedicated loads, but then you're into other costs. So if you're taking the cost of the pump and the dedicated load and then weight on the transfer or route on the transport, it's quite a significant amount then in the end. Whereas have that pump there, straight over 2 hours, you're back running again.
It's a good opportunity too for us to, when we do get that pump, to get it overhauled and actually check what is going on. Yeah. Because it could have been a failure, or it could just be look, it's where if wares, and I only see an upside to that for me anyway, and time, cost, everything. It only works out
Another
in the
point,
green.
another point there. It's obviously a little bit easier for you, Dan, when you've got a smaller region. You've got headquarters here, but CDE, that's another service. Geographically smaller. It's another service we provide where we can take those pumps back ourselves and have them refurbished and inspected by our own team of engineers. And then brought back out to the customer. So that's another, what was it you said earlier? Clever in the bow.
Before we chose up today's episode, we've covered a lot of ground throughout the discussion there. What's the big key takeaway you'd like to leave the viewers with?
So the key takeaway for me is the importance of uptime and the importance of maximizing throughput, because ultimately that's how you quantify the performance of the wash plant and of the business. That's the key metric for it.
The business, so you're buying these because you want to return your investment. So for me, I'd be from the same line as yourself. The more the plant's rolling, the quicker you're getting your return on your investment. So those key things that Sean spoke about, your PMIs, your spares on site, everything from today is the way to go about that.
For me, it's uptime, maintenance. Maintenance is key, and book more PMIs and service visits.
Thanks everyone for your time today. For more information, visit cdegroup.com/talkingtons.